So it's the second week of April. We spent all day yesterday on the plot, and the aim was to plant our seed potatoes, our first earlies, and to get some seeds in, and it was a lot harder work than we thought it was going to be. We have covered the allotment in plastic, and we started to refer to our allotment in terms of the strips of plastic, with one being on the left hand side and 4 being on the right hand side. And we decided to sow our potatoes at the bottom of row 4, just because it was easy to peel off that corner. So we peeled back the mypex and revealed quite a lot of weeds coming through. So the first job before we could get to planting the potatoes was to dig up the weeds. What you can see is that even the smallest amount of weed will generate a plant. This piece of bindweed has a tiny piece of root that was left, and it's managed to make a new plant. So you can just see why these weeds get such a hold. So the next big decision for us was which way round to have our rows, an important decision. Because we have no planting plan, and so we're just starting completely from scratch. And in the end, after much debate, we're going up and down the way. So we're following the strips of geotextile. And so we decided to put 3 rows of seed potatoes in. We decided that's what we could get in the spot. And we planted them to a depth of about 5 inches. And I used my seed planting ruler to space them out. They needed to be about 12 inches apart. Once we'd put them in, we gave them a good soaking, lots of water, puddled completely in the bottom of the trench, and then we covered them over. Now, if I had been doing this scientifically, I might have measured the amount of space that we needed, but in the end we could only get in 2 rows of Red Duke of York and 1 row of Home Guard, so we ended up with some Home Guard left over. But fortunately, Andrew has a plan to make some potato planting bags, and he's doing that using the 1-ton builder's bags that we are using to make our raised bed. We have some of those left over, and here is a short clip of Andrew planting some potatoes.
So we're going to put 3 potatoes in this bag, and first of all I put about 100 millimetres of soil in there and watered it thoroughly. So I'll pop these, and if we can see here, I don't know how well you can see, but they're very, very wrinkly. And someone asked a question a while back about their seed potatoes going wrinkly, and they do go wrinkly because the goodness that's in here goes into these shoots, and this is exactly what we want. So we'll pop 3 in here like so, and then we cover them up with enough soil just to cover them over around about 15 to 20 millimetres in depth. So when they start showing through, then we cover them up again. We don't want to cover them up too much because we want to allow the shoots to get through the soil and actually do some photosynthesize and let them go green and make a wee bit more food, and then cover them up again, and that helps to protect them against the frost. We're putting them in quite shallowly because we keep topping them up. So the reason for that is because the stem that grows up from the potato will then produce the tubers. This is why it's called a stem tuber, because the potatoes are produced, or the tubers are produced on the stem. So the more of the stem that we cover up, just uncovered that one, the more of the stem that we can cover up by earthing up, as it's called, then the more of a harvest we're likely to achieve. So as you can see here, we covered them up with about 15 to 20 millimetres of soil, and then we'll give that a good watering and keep an eye on it and allow them to show through for a day or two, and then cover them up again to protect them against the frost.
And the other thing that we're going to do with the builder's bags is to make some hanging bags. So we could use those for anything we want really, lettuces, alpine strawberries maybe, any plants we can think of we will put in the hanging bags. It's all an experiment, so we shall wait and see how that turns out.